Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down, the greatest live shows and the cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
Hi, this is Hardman from Diverted Disorder, and you're listening to Concerts That Made Us.
The joy of the day to prevent me, but I Hardy, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Now, first off, Diverted Disorder recently dropped the track Serpent Queen. Take us deeper into it if you can.
Awesome. So, Serpent Queen, there's a long story behind the song, but the song was uh, written, the idea of the song was written a while ago, and we recorded it as a band, and then our bassist sort of left, and then we recorded in his studio. So we decided to give the song a bit of a makeover, and also gave the opportunity to the new band members um, to basically record on the song. So we had a lineup change. So we have a new bassist, a new guitarist, Kill and Prometheus, and basically, yeah, we came together as a band. And our drummer Chris, he did all the mixing and mastering and things on the track. Yeah, and we basically, yeah, we developed the track further, and we spent many hours on it. It's got that whole symphony part at the end with the synth and everything. Um, that took quite a while, and the song is about basically people sort of treating other people, um, you know, like lesser and like a lesser, and basically I wrote it in a theme of sort of like an ancient battle that's happening. So I called the song Serpent Queen, sort of with this Medusa figure in mind, where it's this powerful being sitting on a throne, controlling basically all the little people with the army. And that's why when the opening lyrics are enter stage left, the army of the dead. And so it's written. I wrote the lyrics. The band wrote the music together, and I sort of had this image of like this medieval play happening. So as the song starts up, this queen, this serpent queen sitting on a throne, and then enter stage left. Here comes this army, and yeah. So it's about oppression, and it's basically about people looking down on other people, and that's also when the heavy little breakdown happens, just before it goes, slay the oppressor. And that's basically it.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Typically, is that how you guys approach writing music? You'll write the lyrics, then the band will write the music.
So yeah, so Diverted sort of started with me in 2021 writing music and recording music, and then I didn't have a band, and then I sort of was just doing my own thing and was just doing my own thing, and then later in life, in 2022, we actually for the first time got a band and we became Diverted Disorder. And that was the main concept behind the band. But then with the old bassist, we sort of moved away from that structure a little bit. So then other musicians started writing the music a little bit more. Then he left. Now we haven't really written enough music to have sort of a new structure to writing music, but we do sort of, it's a lot more involved now. So if someone would say, listen, I don't like these lyrics, like let's try this, we are more open to changing lyrics and stuff. But I do write sort of ideas and present them to the band, but I am open to other ideas as well.
I like it. I like it. Now, with you guys producing it and, mixing it yourself, were there any challenges or kind of memorable moments that you can share with us?
Yeah, so challenges is definitely time, because we're all sort of locally in the Vaal, but our guitarist is in Joburg. So it's quite a struggle to get all the members together to record. Even though we do live in a digital era, we tried everyone recording on their own, bringing everything together. It just doesn't work out. It's always good when you sit together and you can say like, I like that guitar part, but what if you do this? And even the bassist would say, that guitar part is like this and that, and I could say to the drummer like, this is cool. So it's very diverse musicians, and for instance, our drummer is actually a guitarist, and our guitarist is actually a drummer, and they they fit so well in their positions. But because everyone is multi instrumentalists, we can feed off each other, and we can develop songs better. So definitely challenge is just to get everyone in the room together. That's quite difficult. Memorable moments. I think my favorite moment was probably when me and Chris, uh, his name's actually Gerard, but we call him Chris, and we were sitting in the studio and we were developing that synth part, and we had so many ideas. There's the cave and the water dropping, and there's the bats, and so we had this theme of this battle happening in this sort of cave, and developing that was probably the most interesting part for me, because I write a bunch of songs and stuff, so it's all pretty much the same thing. And that was something new for me. We were, there's the snakes happening in the background and stuff. It's really, really, really cool. So I think that was my favorite part.
Right, right. The video for is you guys playing live. How is the song going down live with fans?
So far, I think it's going pretty well. Everyone is always, the feedback I've received is, when's the breakdown hitting? So I think because it's got this long, aggressive breakdown, that sort of people freak out. And shooting that video was very difficult because 90% of the time I play that breakdown in the crowd. So because I play wireless and all that. So it was quite a challenge to get the video to work with us when I'm never on stage. um, but yeah, I think they received the song pretty well. I think it's probably one of the songs that we dropped that was received probably the best. It got onto the African top 10 metal. We were number 10 first, and now it dropped to number 7. So that's brilliant. And it's reached a bunch of countries. It also went to Australia. It got number 10 in Australia. So I think this song probably had a very strong release. In terms of acceptance, I think we've had stronger PR packs and things in the past, and I feel that the people weren't as accepting towards the music. They're like, yeah, it's pretty cool, but then it died down. Where this one has a little bit more of an impact.
It seems almost, you guys, as you mentioned, the band, you became a full band in November 2022. Before that, it was kind of a solo project. But it seems kind of from the outside, like once you guys formed, it was like a rocket just taking off, becoming successful, almost becoming a force to be reckoned with within the scene. What has it been like on the inside of the band for you?
So, so to spill the beans, sort of, it's been a flippin' roller coaster, man. It's been, then we're up and then we're down, and then we're up again and then we're down. We had quite aggressive challenges, especially when we had the lineup change. Yeah, things went very bad, and I remember it as sort of the end. And then it was actually a funny story how I met the bassist and the guitarist. I was looking for a guitarist, and no one was really interested. And I met this guy. Well, I know this bassist from another band, and he said, "No, his friend would be interested." And then I met Kill, and he was the first new member to join. And then um, our bassist, I actually tried to book another band for a show, and I called the guy and I was like, "Hey, where do you stay?" And he stays close by. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, I'm a bassist." And I was like, "Do you want to join another band?" And he's like, "Yes." I was like, "Cool, we're finally a full band again." And since the new lineup joined together, and I've said this quite a few times, I'm very impressed with the amount of effort these guys do. Especially being new band members, sort of, finding their place in the band. We sort of had all the songs that they had to learn other people's parts and stuff, and how they developed the sound and sort of, got into the music with their own styles and stuff. I love it. So I think for the first time we're hitting a high that sort of dragging longer. We still have a lot of challenges, especially because when we lost our one guitarist, we also lost him as a vocalist because he was a vocalist guitarist. Because we do the thing where we have multiple vocalists. So one of the challenges that we do face a lot is that it's very hard for me to do two people's vocals because I would have normally have done the low growls and then do the highs. Where so the newer songs not so much because I write the music so that I am comfortable, but with the older songs, I do feel that we struggle a bit live to get it on that peak where it used to be. But at the moment, like I said, I do feel that something's happening. There's sort of like a little bit of a buzz happening, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, the podcast is called Concerts That Made Us. So I have to ask you some concert related questions if you don't mind. First off, as a concert goer, what concerts do you think have made you?
So that's a very interesting question. So I also do my own podcasts I book my own shows and stuff like that. So in South Africa, you don't really get super big bands to come and play. You know, you do, but very seldomly, and the tickets are normally wickedly expensive. So I would never have really gone to see big bands. The biggest band I've seen is Metallica, and I probably enjoyed our local opening band more than I enjoyed them because I just felt that their energy weren't didn't match the energy of the opening band. So, but other than that, I haven't seen much big bands. But I think my life changed musically when we went to a festival called Untertage, which is like an underground metal festival. You know, it's like metal's not very big in this country, so they don't happen too often. But we went to this festival and we saw a bunch of bands, and I, well, obviously got fucking crazy drunk, and you know how festivals goes, and we were enjoying bands. And about 2 months later, we drove, I think, 11 hours to go watch one show, and then drove back, which is crazy. We were just doing crazy things all the time. And I saw one of the bands, but I didn't notice who they were. They're called Ghost. The band's called Ghost, like a technical death metal band. So good. And we were in the venue, and we're listening to the opening bands. And they weren't bad. They were good, but nothing that I haven't seen locally. And then this band Ghost walks up, and the moment the vocalist, who I've been chilling with the whole day but didn't notice who he is, walked up the stage, I was like, "Oh, it's that band!" And they blew me away. I from that day, I was just like, if I could ever put on a show, that will be my standard.
Yeah, holy crap. That sounds awesome. And how does the local scene kind of influence or impact your sound, or does it at all?
I don't think so. The biggest um the biggest thing I don't want to hear from another person is, "Hey, you sound like." I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I try to be fresh. I try not to copy anyone. If someone is like, "Hey, that riff sounds like this band or whatever," and I'm like, "Oh no, I hate it now. I'm not gonna play it." So I try to, obviously, music. There's so many bands, so it's difficult to do something fresh, fresh, fresh. But I don't tend to feed off anyone. We're very sort of the odd one out, to be honest. We are we're not heavy enough for the big boys because in South Africa the death metal boys, they're the sort of trending guys. They like these heavy bands, really good stuff, really like Sunken State and Human Nebula and all those guys, really good bands, but we're not as heavy as they are. So we sort of lack a little bit of energy compared to them. And then there's the other circuit, which is the rock guys. You've got some good rock bands going around. So, and we're too heavy for them. So I don't think our sound there aren't any bands that are sort of similar to us. We're sort of always sort of like either going with the one crowd or the other crowd. We don't, um, sort of fit in with any specific group of bands. We have a lot of friends and we play with a lot of bands, really great bands. I'm not saying that we don't have anyone to play with. It's just that I don't think we match the sound.
I get you. I get you. Now, the moment we're all waiting for. For any listeners that haven't been lucky enough to catch one of your shows, what are they like? Give us the full experience if you can.
So definitely it's batshit crazy. So, well, like a lot of people that see me perform, I recently sort of we did this battle of the bands, and one of the complaints was well, on the score sheets was that the guitarist slash vocalist overstimulates the crowd. So I jump into the crowd. I literally start mosh pits myself with my guitar in my hand. So yeah, craziness. And like I always say when we start a show, my sort of intro line is we are Diverted Disorder and we are here to have a good time with you guys. So it's about having fun, it's about getting the crowd moving, it's about jumping crazy, mosh pits, that's what we strive for. And yeah, we really enjoyed it. We played a show the past weekend that was very commercialized. Also, that was the battle of the band, and I think people don't expect what's about to happen because they were sitting there eating their food, having a quiet time, listening to some good indie music, like calm rock vibes, and then next moment this band is like, "Hey guys, we're here now." So yeah, that shit crazy.
Right. Sounds like a hell of a time. Is there any audience or fan interactions you've had that stick in your mind?
um, yeah. Well, particularly what I can remember, because like most times it's just like a massive blur to me. Because I once I lose consciousness the moment I go onto stage and I wake up when I'm off and I'm like, just what happened? But craziest thing, I've been fed a bunch of beer while walking through the crowd. I once laid on a table playing guitar, and someone fed me a chip, and I don't know, in the UK they might be called crisps. And I started choking on this
Oh,
chip
geez.
because of the salt. And I was there going, and the guy started like hitting me on my chest. And I was there, I just kept playing, and I'm like, dude, I'm dying. So that was probably the craziest crowd interaction I've had.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
the most sentimental would be we have a song called Friend that I wrote for a friend that passed away. And the song is all about you know, how you lose a loved one and sort of it's just like a poem I wrote for a friend. And we were doing Friend and I was standing on the stage and I went and I stood on the barricade and I was singing to people standing in front of me, and the people were crying, singing the song back to me. And I think that was probably it's a ballad. It's not a very heavy song. I think the version we released on Spotify is terrible. Our live version is much better because we have a little more. It's a guitar song on live version, and then the album version it's this weird hip hop piano ballad thing. But yeah, so that was definitely the most sentimental to me. Looking at these people singing back at me lyrics that I wrote and they're crying their eyes up. So yeah,
Doesn't get any better than that.
no.
Now, out of all the gigs you've played over your entire career, is there one that sits at the top? You know, the high point. It couldn't have got any better.
um, that's a very difficult question because we've been quite active. We've been running now for about 7 weeks that we've played either one or two gigs every week. It's been tough as hell. um, so I would rather I'll choose one out of the recent ones. I would probably say that Railways Cafe was probably the most. memorable gig we did. It was a massive crowd. I don't know how many people there were, but there were about, I guess, say between 500 and 800 people. And I was just drained of energy because I lost my water on stage, and I was vocaling, so my throat was sore, I couldn't find my water, and I was just parched. And we have this part of the song where we normally do a wall of death, and I would have this big speech about, oh, this side go to that, and I was just dead. I didn't have enough energy to speak, and I just screamed, "Split this shit!" And the people split the shit. They divided the room in two, and then I said, "On my word, go!" And I said, "Go!" And that whole venue just basically went and destroyed each other, I guess. And that's probably the most memorable. And that was we only had a 20-minute slot, which is always weird for me. I don't like 20-minute slots because it's over so fast,
Mm.
But those 20 minutes, they were insane. Um, Also, people after the show was like, what the fuck was that? And just an interesting fact about that show. This is so weird, but just before we went on, a dog shat on the stage, and no one saw it. And then we went on, and because I'm quite aggressive and I jump, I stepped shit all over that stage. It smelled like death. It was terrible. And then the band after us came on, and they were like, "Dude, what the fuck is that smell?" I was like, "Sorry, bro."
Oh man. If we take that question and flip it around, then what's the worst gig you've ever played and how did you overcome it?
Um, because for PR reasons, I'm not gonna say the worst gig we ever played,
Okay.
uh, because it's gonna be a PR nightmare when we're done with it. Um, but I guess one of the shows we played, um, you know, we sort of we went to Durban, we toured Durban, and we went through a bit of shit. We just lost our guitarist, and we were only a three-piece temporarily, and we didn't vibe. We were pissed at each other. We sort of tried to, go out and have a beer, but we ended up almost killing each other on the beach. So there was a bad vibe. And so the next night we played a show in Durban, one of our favorite places to play. And I just think because that vibe was so, you could cut the vibe with a knife on the stage. I think because it was so dark and angry, I hated every fucking minute of it. And yeah, that's probably my personal worst.
Right, right. Makes sense. All right. When it comes to showtime, then what's your pre-show and your post-show ritual? How do you psych yourself up? And then afterwards, how do you wind down?
So I saw the last gig, people were looking at me funny. So I try to hype myself up quite a bit. So I tend to be few bands before we play, if we're lucky enough to have a good slot. A few bands before we play, I start heavily drinking, and then two bands before we play, I would stop drinking completely and only drink water for that one set. And then the band before us, I don't drink anything. Then I would, about 10 minutes before we go on, I would slap myself in the face to get the adrenaline pumping. And I would do vocal warm-ups earlier and stuff, but then I would sort of just go, yeah, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And you always get these people, especially when you play the shows that are not as metal, they just go
Mm.
like, "What is this guy doing? He's slapping himself and making devil noises." So that's my pre-ritual. And then afterwards I would normally it's like very fast paced. In South Africa, it's very fast paced, but I'm probably pretty sure it's pretty much the same everywhere. But the setup time is so fast. You have to like be off the stage in like 5 minutes. The next band should get on. It's like super fast. So I guess the thing we normally do is, as a band, is we go sit at the table have one last drink, and sort of just reminisce on what's just happened, and then drive home for like we don't stay close to most of the shows we play. So then we drive home for about like an hour, hour and a half or whatever.
Right, right. I get you. I get you. Now, before we dive into the last couple of questions, future plans. You've got something big on the horizon in August. Tell us all about it.
Oh, I was hoping you're not going to ask me about that.
Right.
So, you being from the UK, you would know that there's currently a cost of living crisis happening in the UK,
Yep.
and that's unfortunately the some of the bigger festivals we were supposed to play were cancelled.
Oh
So
man.
we were left with some of the smaller shows, and not that I'm saying the smaller shows are fun. Sometimes they're the most fun. It would just not make financially sense to go and play smaller shows and not play bigger shows, and also for PR reasons and everything. So unfortunately, we have postponed our tour until next year. There's no actual date set in stone yet, but we are working closely with great companies in the UK. That yeah, we are sorting it out, but it's very unfortunate. We are absolutely torn apart about it. We were so excited to come. Um, and yeah, the bands in the UK have been so supportive. Like the guys have been working their asses off for us, and they don't even know us personally, you know. So definitely, very, very, very sad about that little thing that happened. But it's not cancelled; it's postponed. So we'll definitely see you guys next year.
And new music then. When can we expect more music from you guys? Any plans yet?
Yeah, so we've been hard at work in studio. The thing is, we were supposed to launch a song at the end of this month. Um, but the song's finished, done, recorded, everything's finished. And we sat and we listened to the song, and it's not bad, it's good. But we just, as a band, decided we're not going to release something until it's perfect. So instead of saying, you know, let's rush it and like let's be a production band, let's meet deadlines. I said rather let's be musicians that put soul into music. If we're not happy with it, let's keep developing it until it's ready. So we've got a song called Portraits that we want to release. It's about being homeless. I've had a little bit of an episode in my earlier life, and I took from that experience and I wrote the song, the lyrics at least. And yeah, so that's what the song's about. But we're working on a full album. We've got about 8, 9 songs ready, not recorded, but ready. Um, it's not just a thing about ironing out the kinks. You know, we want to be great. We don't want to be good. We want to be great. We want to be amazing. So now we're sitting and developing and figuring out and stuff. So all the deadlines we did mention on social media, because the song was supposed to come out end of this month, we decided rather not to do any deadlines. But the album's on the way. We've got some really, really cool tracks on there. Um, it probably won't be done by the end of this year, but we're definitely looking at next year. Um, you know, I do feel don't overproduce, but you need to listen. Well, if I'm gonna play a song live, I'm gonna release a song. I have to like it myself. Otherwise, there's no point for it. So that's basically the main drive. And it's not just me; it's the whole band. You know, we would sit and listen to the song and be like, "Do you like what you're listening to?" And then if we don't, we go back to the drawing board.
Right, right. It's a good way to be. Good way to be. Now we'll dive into the last couple of questions. So these are a couple of random fun ones, but I'm looking forward to your answers. First
Okay.
off, what are you currently obsessed with besides music and the band?
Music and the band. No, I'm joking. I don't think I have enough time to be obsessed with anything. Um,
Right.
because of Hardman Productions, I've just been running so much. I don't normally watch TV, so I've got something. I've been obsessed with watching The Boys. Man, that shit's crazy.
Right, right. Okay, okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. The next one, it's a bit of an odd question. If you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with any musician from history, who would it be?
Anyone but my drummer.
Right. I hope he doesn't hear this interview.
He probably would, but he would expect that answer.
Right.
We've got one band rule. Hardy, well, me doesn't. Well, we don't bunk together. Me and the drummer don't bunk together. That's the only band rule.
Right. I have to ask, where does this rule come from? There has to be one occasion where shit hit the fan.
No, I don't. We're very playful, both of us, and I just think we push each other too far, and then we want to kill each other.
Right. You've got a love-hate relationship, so.
Yeah, definitely.
And the final question, so what's your go-to album? What's an album you constantly revisit?
So it's difficult to say album because I do listen to quite a lot of music religiously. But I can give you a band that I've been coming back to over and over again, and that would be UK-based band called Asking Alexandra. And I think my sentiments to the band started with my career in music sort of starting out because the first metal band, but I'm not talking like Metallica. Metallica is like the softer stuff. I'm talking about proper like metal band that I ever heard was Asking Alexandra because I grew up in a very religious house, so I wasn't allowed to really listen to the heavier stuff. I wasn't allowed to listen to AC/DC or Guns N' Roses or anything. So when I heard Asking Alexandra, I was like blown away with my friend Adam Boyd. He actually also stays in the UK now. But yeah, he played me Asking Alexandra, and sort of something clicked in my mind, and I was like, "What is this? I love this." And since then, I've never stopped listening to them. Like I listen to them literally daily. I've listened to that music so much I can basically, yeah, any song. I like all their songs, good albums, bad albums. I listen to everything. So yeah, quite big Asking Alexandra fan.
Brilliant. I like it. I like it. Great one. Listen, Hardman, it's been an absolute blast now. Thanks a million.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on your show. And yeah, keep doing what you do.
guys. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up the Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking.
Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.